If you are here for the very first time, please don't judge me on my hair. We're in the middle of a pandemic and I'm in lockdown. Hey folks, it's Finn. Welcome back folks, lovely to see you. So, this week's vlog, as you can see, is a Phalloplasty update. Specifically, it's an update on sensation. I am now 5 years post-op. Where has that time gone? So just before Christmas, I did a huge video where I reflected on being both 5 years post-op from the first stage and 2 years post-op from the final stage and completing my entire journey. So that video was a general reflection. So today in this video, I want to concentrate just on the recovery of sensation and how that's feeling, how it's changed and improved over the last 5 years. Now, do bear in mind that this is a video about phalloplasty surgery, so I am going to be talking very frankly about my penis and about genitals. So, if you don't want to see that, please do navigate away now. And before we get stuck in, a huge welcome to anybody who is new. My name is Finn and I create content on gender transition, phalloplasty, top surgery, mental health and LGBT life. If you're enjoying my content, I would love it if you would subscribe to my channel because it really does help to support the work I create. Just click that big red subscribe button below and while you're at it, check out the join button for memberships, perks and exclusives. So let's talk about sensation. So in reflecting on the way that sensation has arrived and increased for me over time, I can actually see that sensation is happening for me in three main ways. It happens in the way you expect it to, where they harvest the nerves and then they regrow and over the years more sensation arrives. But it also happens by bonding with my new penis and getting used to the way it works. And the third way that sensation increases is in relation to dysphoria. So the more dysphoria lowers, the more sensation increases. And I will explain what I mean by those three things. So the way that I hoped to get sensation was in the nerve being harvested from my forearm into my penis to give me that tactile sensation so I can feel when my penis is touched, and also the erotic sensation so that I can feel sexual pleasure with my penis and orgasm. And I've talked about this many times. I will link you to some videos about sensation and in the description there's some links to blogs as well. And I talk really in depth about how that actual physical sensation from the nerves being reharvested has arrived and grown over these 5 years. But what I haven't talked about so much, because I didn't think I actually really realised what was happening, but the other two ways are very significant in the way that sensation has increased. Now, in the bonding of myself with my penis, that's had a huge impact on increasing sensation. To explain, I think I've really noticed this over the last 2 years since finishing my journey. And that's because my penis became my penis rather than a medical site. Because for many years through that journey, I was in constant cycles of surgery and recovery. So my penis was like something that needed looking after, it was wounded, it was sore, and that kind of sets up a sort of a different dynamic. And now that all that's gone and there's no more surgery, I'm now seeing my penis as a actual thing rather than a medical thing, if that makes sense. And of course I can now bond properly to my penis because beforehand he was changing at every surgery. Honestly, you never know what he's going to look like at every stage. It's a really strange thing going through phalloplasty because of how it's always changing. So you're trying to, at every stage, readapt because the wait between surgeries can be up to a year, sometimes more. So you have to, in the meantime, bond with what you've got, even though it's not finished, and get used to how it works and how it gives you pleasure. And then you go in for surgery and it changes again. Slightly frustrating. So now, having finished the journey and not had any surgery for 2 years, what I've got is how it's staying. Finn Jr. is done like a transgender penis cake, and I can get used to him knowing that he's going to stay this way. This has now given me time in the last 2 years to get used to the erectile device, get used to the ways I can now feel pleasure with my penis, both solo and with my partner. And that has really brought me and my penis closer. So he's no longer a medical site, he's really my penis, and he's no longer changing like the wind every moment. He's set in stone, so to speak, and I've got used to how he works. So bonding is a really important part of increasing sensation, because that mindset and knowledge of one's body parts helps then to discover how you can enjoy your penis and thus increase sensation. Now, I hope that made sense. The other aspect of bonding with my penis and it increasing sensation is seeing my penis as a penis. Now, bear with me when I try and explain this. As I've had different stages, remember that what's created my penis is using parts of me and repurposing parts of me. So for a while I was very aware that my penis was created with my arm. I was very aware that my scrotum was created by repurposing my labia. I was very aware that I'd had my T-dick buried underneath my penis and it was there. And this knowledge in my head, even though it wasn't conscious, I realised had kind of put my penis into compartmentalised bits in my head. So when I'd be looking at my penis and touching my penis, there was this kind of awareness that, oh, this bit used to be my arm. Oh, this bit used to be my labia. Oh, this is where my clitoris T-dick is now buried and I can kind of feel but not. And what this view did was, in my mind, kind of make me see my penis as a mixture of old and new parts. And I think this wasn't helped by that kind of mindset of him changing all the time through surgery and still seeing him as a medical site and being created. So I hadn't yet moved into a place of seeing my penis as one entire entity. I'm doing this here, if that makes sense. So now, rather than seeing my penis of parts, of old bits, new bits, this bit and that bit, it's just a penis, it's just a scrotum, end of. I mean, not just any penis. So yes, that second aspect of sensation arriving definitely does come from now really bonding with my penis as mine, as really mine, not as a medical site, not as a mix of old repurposed parts, but really mine, and mine to stay, that isn't going to change. And again, all of that coming together, no pun intended, increases sensation again. And the third way that I've noticed sensation increasing and changing is because of the way my dysphoria has changed and lowered. And this kind of links to the second point I made about the bonding, because with this fracturing of parts of my penis, before surgery, I had lots of dysphoria, but dysphoria with my lower half was different to my top half. There were some aspects of my genitals I could touch and some aspects that I couldn't. So I had safe and non-safe areas. And then when I had my lower surgery, when I had my penis created in the first place, that was safe to touch, and the old parts where I hadn't had the vaginectomy or the urethral hookup were not safe to touch. And this kind of happened all the way through, where I think I still kept in my mind subconsciously there were some areas that I was used to not being able to touch without them causing dysphoria. Are you still with me? So, by my penis becoming a real penis and not a medical site, that decreased my dysphoria. And with my penis being a whole penis, rather than being fractured into parts of old and new, it then meant that I could touch my penis anywhere without being concerned about triggering dysphoria, because I no longer see my scrotum as repurposed labia, it is my scrotum. Whereas before surgery, I wouldn't have touched my labia because I would have felt quite triggered by that. But now that I've stopped seeing them as labia, they are just my balls, my glorious balls, and I like to touch them. Sometimes you just get a teeny bit too much info on here, don't you? The lowering of dysphoria has made such a huge impact, and I think the lowering of dysphoria happens in two ways. I think it happens consciously and subconsciously, because I think our bodies and our brain hold a memory of how we look and how our body is that takes a long time to shift. So even though I was looking at my penis and seeing a penis, my brain was going, oh, that's your labia you're touching. And it's taken it a while to rewire and realise that it's not labia, it's balls. So the way that my dysphoria lowering has increased the sensation is I have more capacity to feel, because to protect yourself, when you feel dysphoria, the way I've coped with it over the years is to block out parts of my body. I wasn't ever able to really drop inside my body and be conscious of it because it was a site of pain. You know, being aware of parts of myself would cause huge distress. And so now I can drop inside my body and feel it without feeling dysphoria. So now that I'm not having to consciously think when I'm pleasuring myself or having pleasure with someone else, that I've got to be aware of boundaries where this bit's okay and this bit isn't. And that sets up this feeling where you can't properly relax and enjoy your body. Make sense? So now that it is all safe to touch, I don't have that feeling of kind of being on edge, of worrying and thinking about touch me here, don't touch me there. I can feel pleasure as one entire area. And what I've found has happened is that's not just confined to my penis. I found that with my penis, I can touch any area of it now. My partner can touch any area of it now, because none of it causes dysphoria, because I see it completely now as a penis. And because I'm relaxed and open to feeling, that feeling now, because I can drop into my body, takes over my whole body. I had no idea it was possible to feel pleasure and sensation in my body like I do now. And I've talked to my partner about this, and he finds it quite distressing to hear me say that. And it is distressing, but I've never known any different. For me to feel pleasure before I transitioned, I had to compartmentalise my body and just keep pleasure to certain areas, because if I looked at a different area, the pleasure would go because dysphoria would arrive. Whereas now, there is no dysphoria about my body matches me, it's congruent with my gender, and so when I have pleasure now, it's everywhere. I can be inside my body, I can feel it, and it's wonderful. So now that I've bonded with my penis and that dysphoria has decreased, it's pretty non-existent really, to be honest, that just leaves me free to explore my body, to find out what different things feel like when I touch myself in certain ways, what different things feel like when I'm intimate with my partner. And that is how the sensation is now increasing, because I've been free to explore, really for the first time in my life. Not just to have sex with my eyes closed and not think about it, to actually really enjoy the experience. Over these last 2 years of getting used to the erectile device, loving my new penis, being more comfortable in my body, dysphoria lowering, it's just been this big exploration that then every single day I can discover something new about my body, the way it feels, the way it works, the way it reacts. And so sensation is increasing in that way, far greater than just this sensation growing through the nerves. It's quite amazing. I mean, there are aspects of my penis now that I thought I'd never touch or thought I'd have to rely on. I've spoken about the burial of my T-dick a few times, and now I don't even think about it as that is what that is. It's just a certain area on my penis that feels particularly nice to be touched. We all have particular areas on our body that feel nicer than others, that give us more sensation or pleasure than others, and that's all it is. It's just a part of my body. I don't have to rely on it, I don't have to think about it. And it's the same with the vaginectomy site. I'd never have allowed anyone to touch me there. But now it's just another nice area of my penis. It's no longer that vaginectomy site. So yes, sensation is very, very much still arriving and still increasing even now. Probably likely more now in these last 2 years post finishing my lower surgery than even before then. Because it's arriving in more important ways, I think. Because it would have been pointless had the nerves regrown and sensation arrived if I hadn't also gone through these other 2 really important aspects of sensation, of bonding with my penis and the dysphoria lowering. If those 2 things hadn't happened, I wouldn't be having the pleasure I am now. So it's really important to remember that sensation arrives in very different ways than we imagine. I did not imagine that this would be what would happen after surgery. All I could think about was, please let me be able to feel my penis, because I was terrified of not being able to. I had no idea that not only would I be able to feel my penis with the nerves regrowing, but also that I'd be able to feel more pleasure because I'd bonded with my penis and lost my dysphoria, so I was free to just feel. So, will more sensation continue to grow? When it comes to the nerve regrowing, possibly. it's possible that still more sensation could arrive. But in terms of sensation generally, absolutely I think more will arrive, because I really am only at the very start of getting to know this body. It was only 2 years I finished this journey. And more every day I'm realising things and having these realisations about how I'm feeling things differently and how my penis works and what gives me pleasure with it. And I think that will just continue to grow as I get more and more comfortable in my own skin. I really hope that was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, please do drop me a message in the section below. And don't forget, I have tons more phalloplasty resources here on my YouTube channel. There's loads of playlists which I'll link to here and also in the description below. And there are additional resources and blog posts over on my website too, which you can also find below. If you are enjoying my phalloplasty content and you'd like to say thank you, then I would love you to buy me a cup of coffee over on my Ko-Fi page. Anyone who shows support over there, either with a one-off donation or monthly support, gets access to additional perks too. And more are coming soon. Take care of yourselves. See you again soon.